Hello everybody. Today I will be talking over the hypothalamus, and you will be amazed to know that this hypothalamus occupy only 0.3% part of our brain and controlling almost all the functions, whether it to be your body temperature, your the sympathetic and parasympathetic system, whether to be your sexual behavior, your emotional behavior, or your requirement for taking food, drinking water, all this thing and many more thing, it's governed by this hypothalamus. So how all this hypothalamus do? The hypothalamus do all these activity by its connections. So let's see the hypothalamus under the following headings. I will be talking over the introduction, boundaries of the hypothalamus. There we will see the important structure in the relation to the hypothalamus, subdivision and hypothalamic nuclei. See this subdivision and hypothalamic nuclei, it is little bit complex, but here I am having a very good image to make this thing easier for you. Then we will see the connection. Though the hypothalamus makes lot of connection, but for you this is only two connection for which I am going to talk. Then two important clinical anatomy. Before I further proceed this lecture, let me clear to the other who are not medical student or those who are not doing MBBS. So actually this channel is designed for the MBBS student, because the topic in this channel what I cover as per the pattern required by the Medical Council of India. So those who are not MBBS student, even the BDS student, they can go through this channel, because the syllabus of, especially in the head and neck, almost the syllabus is same. So beyond to this MBBS and BDS, so this channel is of not of much use in the sense the way if they have to write in the exam, but yes, of course, if they are interested to learn something beyond to their syllabus, then they are most welcome. This hypothalamus is a part of diencephalon, and this is present. You can see here is hypothalamus sulcus, and below to this at here where I am indicating right now. So this is the hypothalamus. So this present in pars ventralis of the diencephalon. This is 4 grams in weight, and we can see here this image is enlarged here, and you can see here this hypothalamus. So this hypothalamus is associated with the important structure like thalamus, infundibulum. This is here, this is the infundibulum. This is connecting here with this pituitary gland, and the third ventricle here. So third ventricle. So this hypothalamus make floor of the third ventricle as well as lateral wall of third ventricle, rather to say lower part of lateral wall of third ventricle as well as the floor of third ventricle. Clear? As I said earlier, this hypothalamus control your autonomic nervous system, control your endocrine system, it controls your this limbic system, and maintain the homeostasis. and this limbic system is associated with this amygdala. So we can say that this hypothalamus is closely and very importantly associated with three important structure. One is this thalamus. Second is this amygdala, and third is the pituitary gland. So this thalamus, amygdala and pituitary, in a short I am writing pituitary gland, PG. Here I will show you the boundaries of the hypothalamus, as well as I will tell you how to draw the diagram if it's come as a short notes in the exam, how to draw and what to draw and what to label. So please be focused. First, see the boundary, this anterior boundary. We can see this anterior boundary is formed by this lamina terminalis, and this lamina terminalis here is the optic chiasma, and we have to draw like this way till this anterior commissure. Here is the anterior commissure and this is the optic, see here is the optic chiasma. So this part which is in the pink color is the anterior boundary. Posteriorly by this subthalamus, inferiorly by this here to here, all this is by the floor of third ventricle, and we can see the boundary of this, we can see the floor. See, already I have shown you this optic chiasma. Then this part which I am drawing in the blue color, from this tuber cinerum, then we can see this is the infundibulum, this part is the infundibulum, this is the infundibulum here. Then you can see this is the mammillary bodies here up to this. So this is the inferior boundary. Superiorly by the thalamus. So we know, see this is the thalamus, so superiorly by the thalamus. And here this part here, this is the medially, and medially it is bounded by the cavity of the third ventricle here, and laterally by the internal capsule. So this is the sagittal section, so I can't show you the internal capsule here in this image. So laterally is by the internal capsule. Now I will show you how to draw, what to draw and what to label. See, this is an optic chiasma. So we start from here. This is making an anterior boundary. Then this part here, this is the anterior commissure. Then after this, this is the corpus callosum which I am drawing. Now I will draw the brainstem. See, let's continue first the floor. So this floor is over, then after the floor, drawing this brainstem. See, so here we can see this is the pons, this is the medulla, and here the spinal cord. Now I will draw the cerebellum. See, drawing this cerebellum or cerebrum is not important. What you have to draw, this hypothalamus and the structure in the important structure in the relation. So I have drawn here this thing is this. Drawing the brainstem is important because you have to connect this thing with this brainstem. That's why it is important. Now draw the here this mammillary body. Then here you have to draw this way. You have to draw the infundibulum because you have to draw the pituitary gland. So I have drawn this. See, this is the pituitary gland. Now draw the thalamus. So now you can see what I have drawn here. Now just label all this important. So I have labeled all the important structure. So pituitary, infundibulum, tuberosinium, this anterior commissure, this corpus callosum, thalamus, and mammillary body. Now label this one as a pons, medulla oblongata, then spinal cord. So this you have to draw and you have to highlight. So you have to color the region of this hypothalamus. Clear? This way, this how. So this is the hypothalamus. So this you have to draw, and the important question that can be asked, that I will mention in the end of the video. This image, what I was talking about for the subdivision and the nuclei of the hypothalamus. So this image is little bit easier to understand compared to what you see in your textbook. So let's understand the subdivision and nuclei. This is a complete region of the hypothalamus, and this part is facing toward anterior, this part is facing toward the posterior, and this one superior and this one inferior. Clear? Because the part which is facing toward the anterior is related to the anterior boundary. So here is the fornix. So taking fornix as a mean center, and we divide this region of the hypothalamus in two parts. This part which is facing toward you is the medial zone. This is the medial zone. The part which is away to this is the lateral zone. So this fornix here, this is an anterior column. The fornix divide this region of the hypothalamus into two, that lateral zone and the medial zone. Clear? Now this region is divided into the following parts. Most anterior region, this region is known as pre-optic region, and this region, it has preoptic nucleus. This preoptic region is related with the anterior boundary, which is the lamina terminalis. I am writing in a short LT. Then posterior to this is this supraoptic region. So just superior, here we have seen the optic chiasma. So superior to this region, this is the supraoptic region. It has a three important nuclei. One is this paraventricular nuclei. Second one is this anterior nuclei. Third one is this supraoptic nuclei. Posterior to this supraoptic region is this tuberal region. So this tuberal region here, it is related with this one is related with the tuber cinerum. We have seen the tuber cinerum. So here in this tuber cinerum, and this here we see the important nuclei is dorsomedial nuclei. Then another is ventromedial nuclei, and this infundibular nuclei. Then posterior to this tuberal region, here we see the mammillary region. So mammillary region, it has important nuclei is posterior, this posterior nuclei, and this mammillary nuclei. So these are the important nuclei to which I have mentioned. Now we will see the connection. So here what I am showing you the connection, actually this connection is for the thalamus. So here you can see this is the thalamus and this one is the hypothalamus. So whatever the input the thalamus is getting, is communicating with this hypothalamus. So we can see all these things are governed through this thalamus and the connections making with the hypothalamus. So this is not important for you. So we will talk about the two other connection. Now we will see the connection of this with the neurohypophysis, and this is known as supraoptico-hypophyseal tract, and this connection is for the pituitary gland, and in the pituitary gland? Posterior lobe of the pituitary gland. Clear? So already we have seen just now the paraventricular nucleus and the supraoptic nucleus. These two nucleus we have seen in the supraoptic region. This paraventricular nucleus is for the oxytocin, whereas supraoptic nucleus is for the vasopressin. These two hormones are secreted here in the posterior lobe of the pituitary gland. But to secrete these hormones, it needs stimulant. And how these stimulants comes? These stimulants come through this nucleus. So here this paraventricular and supraoptic nucleus, they give the stimulant here. So this stimulant from this hypophyseal tract, here we can see the cell body, and so this stimulant here in it from the cell body through this axon, it moves here, and through this infundibulum it reaches in the posterior lobe of the pituitary gland, and here we can see at the terminal part the stimulant is released. So signal stimulation is released, and finally the hormones here is secreted, and through this vein come in the circulation. Next important connection is the connection with the adenohypophysis. So adenohypophysis means from the anterior lobe of this pituitary gland, and this is through this tuberoinfundibular tract. Now we can see here this tuberal nuclei, and we have seen that this tuberal nuclei is present in the tuberal region. So here the nuclei, and another nuclei is the infundibular nuclei. These nuclei give stimulation for the RH. RH is the releasing hormone, and RIH, and RIH is the release inhibiting hormone. So this from here they passes through this tuberoinfundibular tract and reaches to this median eminence. We can see here the median eminence. Then in this median eminence we see this infundibulum. So here in this infundibulum, the tuft of the capillary, we can see here the tuft of the capillary. This tuft of the capillary make hypothalamo-hypophyseal portal system. Hypophyseal portal system. Finally, through this portal vessel, it reaches here in the anterior lobe. So when it reaches here, it has, as I've told you, these two are reaching, this RH and RIH, they come and reaches here in this anterior lobe. So what this RIH do? This RIH inhibit MSH. What is MSH? MSH is melanocyte stimulating hormone, and LTH. What is LTH? LTH is a luteotropic hormone. So these hormones are inhibited due to this releasing this release inhibiting hormone, through this release inhibiting hormone, and this RH, which is this RH is a releasing hormone, so it stimulate to secrete ACTH, that is adrenocorticotropic hormone, FSH follicular stimulating hormone, LH luteinizing hormone, thyroid stimulating hormone, GH growth hormone. Just now we have seen the supraoptic and paraventricular nuclei. So if the lesion to these supraoptic and paraventricular nuclei, then what will happen? Then this will result in a condition which is known as hypothalamic syndrome. Hypothalamic syndrome, which result in polyuria, polydipsia. So this condition is known as diabetes insipidus. Next is craniopharyngioma. So this is a carcinoma. So this is a congenital tumor which is due to the remnant of this Rathke's pouch. So this Rathke's pouch get enlarged due to this and led to form this tumor which compress the optic chiasma and hypothalamus, which result into many clinical features associated with optic chiasma and hypothalamus. This how we finishes the lecture of this hypothalamus. Now what during the viva or during the professional exam, the frequently asked questions is first short notes over the hypothalamus, and second is supraoptico-hypophyseal tract, or even it can be asked about this tuberoinfundibular tract, as well as the function of the hypothalamus. So already you have gone with the function in the physiology, so I have not discussed here. So I hope you understood well. If you have any doubt or a question, please comment. Thank you.